Oh, yeah. I read.
9 o'clock on Tuesday, July 11, 2017, full county board meeting. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Hall.
Here.
Anderson. Barron.
Here.
Bill.
Present.
Bowman. Kokenauer.
Here.
Crow.
Present.
Curtis.
Yes.
Askebargen.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Crumweedy.
Present.
Lemay. McGinnis.
Here.
McTaggart. Awful.
Here.
Persley.
Present.
Raymond.
Present.
Shore. Sticknot.
Present.
Whitlow.
Here.
Any questions?
Chairman and the board, I'd like to introduce Pastor Carl Gibbs from the Our Savior Lutheran Church in Milford. He will begin our meeting with prayer.
Very good. Good morning. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Almighty God, we thank you for this day. Father, I thank you for this group of people. You tell us in your holy word that government is a gift from you, instituted by your hand to care for your people. So Lord, I pray that you would bless this body that is gathered here today with wisdom, knowledge, discernment, that the things they do, the things they say, especially the things they decide today would, again, accomplish that for which you have placed them here, again, to benefit and to care for your people and your creation. Father, be with them, allow them to continue to serve with honor and integrity. The things they do would bring not them glory, but you. Father, we also lift up before you this day, as we do every day, our state, our nation, our president, and all of our legislators, as well as our judiciary. And Lord, bless them with the wisdom which they need to serve according to your will. Lord, these folks I place into your hands this day. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone has a copy of the agenda in front of them. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Bill, is there a second? Mr. Awful? Any questions or comments about the agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes for the June 13, 2017 regular session. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Whitlow, is there a second? Mr. Barron, second. Is there any questions or comments about the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. Payroll.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Crumweedy moves to approve the payroll. Is there a second? Mr. Askebargen. Any questions or comments on the payroll? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Askebargen.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond. Shore.
Yes.
Sticknot.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes. Motion passes 17 to nothing. Public comment. Dr. Youssef.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm sorry to take a few minutes to really talk about the
Yes.
Good morning. thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk today. And unfortunately, I was supposed to talk last week, but I missed the meeting for circumstances. So, Mr. Larry, I gave a lot of accusations and allegations against animal control and me personally, and Ms. Carey as well. So I'm here today. We'll take a few minutes from you just to defend my animal control department and myself as well. So, first of all, if we go by one by one, about the accusation about we put dogs down regularly, I print out, this is the cases in the last 6 months, not only one day, Mr. Larry, determined to see the difference in one day. It's for the last 6 months, zero dogs to put down. Zero. All the difference in here. So I will leave it for the board president, if anyone would like to see it. Here, sir. Talking about we send dogs to shelters that they kill animals. I print out all the documents we have in the last 6 months as well. It's not like a day or two or a week or two. Last 6 months, and we have 6 shelters, non-killed shelters, we send dogs to. The names are here. You can call them and follow up with the cases. We send it to them to see if we send specifically to a killed shelter or not. Other thing I want to, before get this, look at all the kids for the last 6 months. None of them killed shelters. So I just want to give you an idea of the educational part of animal control. Like when we receive the dog, we are actually work 24 hours a day. I mean, called 24 hours a day, the same thing as the animal control officer. We get calls early in the morning, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, late at night, and we have to respond to these cases or these calls. When we pick up the dog or the dogs, we bring them to the facility, and then the first thing we do is we run this quick physical exam, either by me or by the animal control officer. If I'm not attending at the clinic or at the facility, she would call me, inform me about what we have, looks like a cut in the hip area or bleeding somewhere, and then we assist the case. I can come and treat. We have never put a dog down if he is even hit by a car. He's in a very bad shape. The only time we put dogs down if the dog is dying already. So this is the client bringing the dog to the clinic, and he's in the same shape. I will ask the client, please, as a mercy for this dog, we have to put it down. If you want to treat, we can treat. But for the animal control, I try my best to treat. So the owner, when the owner recognizes his dog, he can come back and pick up the dog. And this happened many, many times. Like last year, we had a severe car accident. The owner died actually in the car accident. And he brought 2 dogs. One of them were dead already. The other one had severe bleeding from the mouth, cut from the gum. And had to do oral surgery. He did the dog, did oral surgery. 2 days later on, one of the family members came and picked up the dog. And you cannot imagine how appreciated he was. And this is our mission. I'm not in this area to put dogs down just for nothing. The other thing I want to explain to you is I actually manage a shelter in Bloomington, non-kill shelter. I was the executive director of this shelter for a year and a half. This is non-kill shelter. I understand very well what is the meaning of non-kill or kill shelter. So the other thing is let me see the other allegations here so I can go one by one. Talking about the specific case, the only one within the last 6 months we put it down. This happened Monday, the 12th of this month, last month. What happened is and you can ask the chief of the police, Mr. Douglas. We received a call from him. He said there's a dog at the house. Somebody needs to come and pick it up. I cannot talk about this case in detail. You can talk to him or you can talk to me individually because this is a very sensitive case. We picked up the dog. We brought the dog to the clinic. He stayed with us for 2 or 3 days. And then the father came to the clinic, the owner came to the clinic. He specifically asked me to put the dog down. I asked him, I can manage this dog, send it to another shelter, or put him for adoption from another shelter. He refused. Again, this is, I cannot talk in details about that because of the sensitivity of the case. He insisted to put the dog down. In the paper here we have like his signature, like I authorize Dr. Yusuf for the animal control to put this dog down because that's my request. By Illinois Animal Control Act, I cannot refuse that. Even if somebody called me like in the country or somewhere here in Iroquois County, he said, I want you to come pick up my dog and put him down. By Animal Control Act, I have to respond to this case, and I have to do it. This is the law. I cannot refuse his request. And like I said, we have the paper signed by him requesting that. Talking about, like refuse to allow to deal with a credit card. We don't have credit card machine here at Animal Control. And we have a limited budget. If we use credit card machine, it means like we have extra charge from the credit card company. We cannot do that. We have credit card machine in the facility. If the owner is willing to come and pay by credit card, we can do that. And we did it many times, and I have a receipt for that. And who's going to take the extra charge? It's me, personally. I pay for the credit card company, personally, but I didn't say anything before. Why? Because I need everything to be like smooth. I know that the owner's very stressed out because they need to pay the money, get the dog out. Okay, if you want to use our machine, that's absolutely fine. But here we don't have a machine, credit card machine. When we talk about the high-kill facilities, we use like between 5 to 6 non-kill shelters. Please call them. Please call them and follow up with the cases. We send it to them. Ask them, what are these dogs now? Are they in a good house or you killed them? Okay, when we receive the dog, we keep them from 7 to 10 days by law. And if we know the owner, we keep calling him one after the time, maybe 2, 3, 4 times. Please come and pick up your dog. We have a fee, and this fee is not coming to my pocket. It's going to the county. So you have to pay the fee. No exception. Some people, they try to, I'm sorry to say, this is like in any business or any job, manipulate you. They said, we don't have money. I cannot pay this money. I have to sell my house to pay the money. Unfortunately, if we wait a little bit, we come up with a cash money or a check and whatever because we need the dog and they pay it. But I cannot accept any exception. I cannot say, okay, I'll give him a discount. No. But the reason we keep calling him every day almost is to remind him about boarding fee. We charge $15 boarding fee to the county. Some people, if we wait for the whole 7 days or 10 days, believe me, they give up the dog. They say, we don't need my dogs anymore because this is very, a lot of money I cannot pay. So that's why we keep pushing that. So this is talking about Mr. Larry, and I don't have any doubt that Mr. Larry has a big intention to help the community. And I wish if you talk to me and ask me questions about how we run this one, how we do this one, I want to come to your facility and check about the dog, about the file. I would be more than happy to show you around and to discuss things. But to throw allegations, to throw accusations to everybody, this will confuse everybody. And actually will give a very bad reputation to the animal control, which we don't deserve that. We're working, like I said, 24 hours a day. We don't have weekends. I swear to God, that's my witness. Last weekend, I got out, I was with a movie theater with my family. I came out 1 hour outside talking to the animal officer about the case. I cannot ignore any phone calls from anybody. So I'm trying to do my best, honestly. I will talk very briefly about the allegation of Carrie. So we use Carrie as a temporary, I can say animal catcher or dog catcher. She was not an animal officer. Jenny, the main animal officer, has to go out of Iroquois County, so out Iroquois County limit for family reasons. She came with Carrie, she said you mind, she covered me for a couple of days. I sat down with her and I told her, if you go and catch any dog, you have to call me first. If the dog is aggressive, do not touch him. Call me first so I can come and help you. And it happened, like chief of the police in Gilman, he called her. He said, like, please come and pick up this dog, but the dog is kind of aggressive. She called me. I called the gentleman in Gilman. I said, can you wait till Monday, keep the dog aside in a room. Monday we come and pick up the dog. And he was so positive. He said, yeah, that's fine, absolutely fine. So anyway, she covered for 2 days. Unfortunately, many people covered before, and no complaint happened before. What happened is, I think, and again, I don't have any doubt that she's a big animal lover, but sometimes, you know, your emotion can actually hurt the animal. So when she came, my nurses at the clinic, they told me that, you know, she's overfed the animal control dog with a lot of food. I talked to her about that. There is a scientific, medical reason behind that. I have to give reasonable amount of food to the dog. First of all, if the dog is like under stress, is outside at large for a long time, or 2-3 days even, they always deplete it from phosphorus, potassium, magnesium. And those, especially phosphorus, is a big factor to keep the red blood cells integrity. If we overfed the dog when he comes to the facility, it means he already has deficiency of phosphorus. If we give him a lot of food, this will deplete more phosphorus in the body. What will happen is what we call hemolytic anemia. It means, like, you know, we have destruction of red blood cells. You can see blood in the stool, blood in the urine, and you can kill the dog, by the way. The dog will have nervous manifestation like seizure, twitching, and stuff like that, and he may die. So we always give reasonable amount of food. When I pay her attention to that, she took it personally. When I manage things, and I give her like background about myself to see what's my background or what's her background, and I don't insult anybody. Like I said, I am sure 100% she's a big animal lover, but sometimes they can kill the animals by their emotions. I want you to check, guys, online what we call refeeding syndrome. Refeeding syndrome. This is very common in shelters. But having out of the emotion, they get the dog is very thin, is very tired, they give them a lot of food. 2-3 days later on, a lot of diarrhea, vomiting with blood. They have to put it down. I'm not going to wait for somebody who doesn't have a knowledge about what I'm talking about. So again, it's the refeeding syndrome, if you want to check it online. She had allegation about, you know, flea medicine, but we don't weigh the animals and stuff like that. I have a picture here in my iPad, I can show it to you. We have like a weight chart in the kitchen of the facility. So when you receive the dog, we can apply Vectra 3D. And we have to do it like, you know, estimation. I have nurses, like, they have been working there for 14 and 15 years now. They have a lot of experience. When they see the dog, the dog is almost between 15 to 20 pounds. We cannot say, yeah, this is 10 pounds. I'm not going to ask the animal officer to fight with the dog, to put him on the scale, like an aggressive dog or something like that. We have to use our judgment. The other thing she doesn't know, and this is what I'm saying is that the education part, is the Vectra 3 we use is one of the strongest medicines in the market. It contains permethrin. Permethrin is very safe, active ingredient for dogs. It contains 36% of permethrin, meaning that it contains 36 milligrams of permethrin. This is every 1 tube. So the study LD50, it means the dog can die if you feed him, not even apply, feed him 5,000 milligrams for each 1 kilogram. Look how tasty it is. It's very tasty. Like I said, they feed dogs with permethrin before. We didn't have any like side effects other than tingling sensation in the skin. Other than that, we didn't have any side effect reaction by any means. So let's say like, you know, one of the nurses who was drunk by any way or any means, I'm sorry to say that, let's assume that, and she applied like 3 tubes in a dog, nothing will happen. It's very safe. And the other thing, we have something called extra label. This is for veterinarians. I'm sure she's not aware about that. Extra label means if this product you have to apply one tube only, the veterinarian has the right to make it extra label. No, we can apply two, or we can apply half. And the veterinarian is responsible for that. This talk about my background very quick. I'm a DVM, certified veterinarian, have a master's degree in zoonotic disease between human and animal. I'm a diplomat of American Board of Toxicology. It means that I deal with human poisoning cases. We study all the medicine in the market. And actually, a couple of days ago, I got a letter from the president of the ABT, the American Board of Toxicology, inviting me and some of the experts in this field to come and review the exam of the diplomat of the Board of Toxicology for 2017. We can go meet in October for a couple of days. I have the letter here. I give it to the president again. Other thing, I'm a diplomat of American Board of Toxicology. And please pay attention to this one. It's only 100, less than 150 veterinarians around the world. I'm very proud to say that, will carry this certification. It's a very, very hard certification to get. Again, we study all the safety data from FDA. We did a lot of studies about medicine, about clean medicine, thick medicine. We know about the safety of all of that. If somebody doesn't have the background education and comes to me and talks to me and says, oh, why are you applying to tubes? Because you don't have the background about what you are talking about. It's exactly human. If you have arthritis and you go to the physician, it's written in the label, like you can get like 3 tablets like 3 times or 4 times a day. And the rheumatologist or the physician will say, oh, you can take 4, that's fine. Because he knows how much it saves this one. If you go and see like 5 or 6, you know it's going to damage the liver, so you cannot do that. So this is another invitation from the American Board of Toxicology to go attend their meeting to recognize me as one of the toxicologists in this field. Indiana 24th of this month. And please, I can buy a ticket to Mr. Larry if you want to come and attend with me. So it's 24th Sunday from 7:30 to 10 o'clock. So talking about all of that, I'm not trying to show off, but I have to talk about myself and about the department. Like I said, we run the business in a scientific, veterinary medicine aspect or field, background. I'm not just through this food, to the animals because I don't know what I'm talking about. No, I know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, what happened is, Carrie, when I talked to her about this and about the specific case, she brought a case from an owner, like 2 dogs, she picked them up from the street. She called the guy, said you have to come and pick up your dog. She voluntarily talked to him. She said, if he didn't come, we can send it to the shelter. He said, what shelter? He said, I don't know. It's a Vermilion County shelter, and they kill dogs over there. This is the thing to explain the situation. I wasn't aware about that at the beginning. The third day, I talked to the owner myself, because she said the owner is very upset. He's going to sell his tractor, his house, whatever, to get the money. Got my witness again. The owner was so nice. And she said, I don't have any problem. My husband is getting the money. He's coming to your facility today. Pay the money and get his dogs out. This is absolutely fine. So when I talked to her, when I knew about, she talked about Vermilion County, they put dogs down, I was so upset. And I told her that you don't have the right to talk to people like this. I told you specifically before starting those only 2 days. If any question from any owner, he has to call me personally, specifically. But she didn't. She was upset that I talked to her. I didn't criticize her. I was not criticizing her. I was just informing her. Give her some knowledge. Unfortunately, some people, they don't appreciate that. They have, I don't know, the dignity that I don't want to get any information. If you want to learn about things like that, medicine, specifically, you have to read down to earth so you can learn. So I think that's all I have. And I just want to, again, from my background, those are the two big boxes here. This one is 5 last-minute consultant for veterinarians. I'm telling you, if you know a veterinarian doesn't carry this book, it means he's a very good one. I'm not saying that specifically, but this is very essential book in the veterinary field. I wrote a chapter in this book. You can hear my name and stay down here, everybody comes under control directly. I'm very proud, to put like a title like this in this book, because this is a good thing even for the county. The other book, the same thing. This is specific for Mr. Collins. And this one, 2016, that was here. I'm still active in the field, and I didn't get my certification and just sit down there. For your information, we have to get 40 hours of continuing education in 2 years as a veterinarian. 20 hours to be, or continue to get documented for their work is things like that. I spend a lot of time, money to educate myself to apply this here in the county. I have the passion to let the people know. I wish me and Mr. Larry to work together for the county, not against the county. If there is any unintentional hurt for anybody, I apologize for that. But I wish, like I said, next time, if anybody has any question, any concern, my phone number everywhere, and online, and internet, the website of the animal control. Please call me. Please invite everybody to come to my facility randomly. Don't call me to tell me I'm coming tomorrow. Just come and check on the animal, how we separate animals, how we treat them, how we walk them twice a day, animal control dogs, how we feed them, how we be humble with them and treat them if they are sick. I'm kind of like, upset, but happy that to present myself today, and I wish I could next time to work together, not against each other. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask me.
The first time you was asked by a newspaper what happened with Lou, the dog you euthanized, you told the newspaper you found the dog at home. It was in the newspaper, I read it. Right, Wendy?
What thing again? I'm sorry. I didn't, the only thing I said to Wendy before, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I said there's an investigation going on. I didn't get any details
No,
about
the newspaper, they printed, I don't know what you told them, they printed that you found the dog at home.
Yeah.
You found the dog at
Yeah.
home. But you killed it, you didn't find it at home.
No. So
Yeah,
I can see this is the confusion. Can I answer this question very quick? I said, please talk to the chief of the police, Mr. Douglas, who called us, and he said, we have a case, I need the animal control to come here and pick up the dog from the house. Because there is certain, very sensitive circumstances inside this house. And then we had to go pick up the dog, go to the facility. Like I said, the father of the owner, because the owner of the team, came and asked me to put the dog down. I swear to God again that I told him you can move that dog to a different facility so he can be adopted. He refused. And he signed the paper. I have a legal paper here. It means he gave me the authorization to do that. So talking about we went to pick up the dog over there, and we killed it over there, all these things never happened. It never happened. The dog stayed with us for 3 days. So please, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Larry, or anybody here, talk to me first. Get the bottom of the story. What's going on? So you can based on that, you can make a judgment. You cannot accuse people. I can accuse you now. Like I said, somebody told me I found Mr. Larry drunk and he's naked. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that. You think I should go to everybody and say that? No, I didn't feel like that. Am I right? So, the last thing, I really request an apology from Mr. Larry and from Gary. Even Gary, if she has any questions, I'm willing, like I said, she's an animal lover, but she doesn't have enough education to run any business, unfortunately. Because she can hurt dogs and cats. Any questions?
I think we need to kind of move on so that we can get the meeting going. If there's any further need for discussion, we can,
Anytime.
Is there any other public comments? Seeing none, we move on.
Oh, you got a lot.
I'm sorry.
Cindy Bates, and I am the County Extension Director for U of I Extension for Champaign, Vermillion, Fort Iroquois County. So I'm coming to talk a little bit about our budget and what is happening now that we have a state budget. Things may change a little bit, however, the state currently owes us $1.5 million for the last 2.5 years, and I have a feeling we're not going to get much of that back, if any. So we're moving forward. The levy that we have here is $111,300, and that's what we'll have for what is my fiscal year 18. Yours is we run on different fiscal years, so about 6 months different. I would appreciate about the same for next year. I think that based on the state of the state, I'm trying to look within my means. I will let you know that this year, through some higher lag, through some attrition, we will end the year in the black, barely. We will probably be right at zero as of June. Well, I mean, we hit June 30th, and so I've been able to move some things around. One of the things that we did was we expanded our grant considerably. And most of the changes actually didn't affect Fort and Iroquois County. The changes that we had affected Champaign. That's our bigger area. We cut 3.5 admin staff positions. We just didn't refill them. We're down some educator positions that we're slowly going to refill. But we were able to keep our budget so that we did not go into red, which truthfully was kind of for the feet to try to get things leveled out. The local staff, the local staff has not been affected at all. Your local programming in Fort and Iroquois County has not been affected. So all of the staff are still employed. I'm not looking at layoffs or anything like that for Fort and Iroquois counties at all. Your local funds, that $111,300, essentially pays for that staff and for the building here. So if we get match, that's that match and some federal funds pay for the educators that come. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. I appreciate your support, and I'll take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Being none, we'll move on to outside organization reports. Mr. Berry.
Good morning. Few folks here that probably don't know me. I'm Ken Berry. I'm the Executive Director of IDA, the Iroquois Economic Development Association. We are a non-profit group, not a county committee, but we are supported financially in part by the county. Last month we showed you the video that we had been working on. After that meeting, we did some filming. We got a nice portion in there on IMH, the hospital, and a couple of other tiny additions to it. And the video went out not too long after the meeting last month. It was probably another week after last month's meeting. But it got some real traction out there. As of yesterday, I think it was, it had been viewed over 26,000 times. It had been shared 376 times. If you're familiar with Facebook, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not sharing a video like that, means you probably liked it and you shared it to your own page, which then opens it up to another whole section of folks that are your friends. That it's a big web that spreads out there. It was reacted to, which is a reaction is primarily putting a little emoticon on there, like a, and I think that's the right word, like a smiley face or a frowning face or something. I haven't seen any frowning faces. It was pretty well liked. 45 people even took the time to make comments about it, and all positive. I noticed, I read through all of them, and 7 of them ranged from questioning some things to one that was kind of downright nasty. One of them was nasty to me anyway. We worked hard on it. One comment was very nicely done. However, where are the women business owners? That comment was made 3 times. 3 different, in varying words, but that same thought 3 different times. We responded to that by telling them that the Iroquois County video was not intended to show men in business or any particular business. It was intended to demonstrate to business and industry that we have the infrastructure to support their needs by showing our larger employers whose heavy utility needs have been more than adequately served throughout the county. All of them were happy with that answer. We did kind of agree that it would be nice to do a women in business video sometime. Another comment that I guess was probably negative was Onarga was completely forgotten after it was voted 10 safest places to live in Illinois, has a country club, a movie theater, a public pool, and lots of businesses. There was only one comment. There was no duplication of that. But the above comment that I just read to you applies there too. But we are encouraging every community to make their own video and tout all their winning attributes, their benefits. And any community in the county, we're willing to help them if they contact us. Help them develop their story, tell it. If the video, our board has already decided if the video provides or attends to job creation element, that type of thing, that we will provide them a nominal grant to help them get started. That was decided probably 4 or 5 months ago that we would do that. Here was another comment that I found. Our representative, Tom Bennett's here. I feel like I might jump on these guys today. But not Tom. He knows what's going on. This comment was, why would anyone want to bring a business to Illinois? The government of the state is such a mess. The taxes are outrageous. It's a sad state of affairs. That comment, or one similar to it, was made 3 times. Our return was that after the scam that was shoved down our throats by Springfield last week, this question continues to get harder to answer. The comment was, some choose to run and hide, but we choose to stay and fight. We will never give up on Iroquois County or the state of Illinois. Economically, from my standpoint, I've really lost count, but people all over, everywhere I've gone, people have made comments. Probably had 50 comments. People saying it was a great job, a wonderful snapshot of Iroquois County, that kind of thing. I even had one employer say that if I didn't already have a business in Iroquois County, I'd think about starting one here. I said, please start another. And don't forget to share your story with your customers and suppliers. I'm guessing right now that I probably have 5 contacts that can be linked to the video. Haven't even really had much of a chance to promote it directly, sending it out to folks. Mostly it's been that has come through Facebook. And borrow the, I think, second line in the video, that's a good thing. One more reference back to the state of Illinois finances. I consider that it's kind of a cowardly approach to what was going on. There was no cutting, just budgeting and overspending. They did nothing to solve the real financial problems that plague us in Illinois, nor did it do anything to really resurrect the reputation of Illinois in the eyes of the world. And we're the kind of the laughing stock and the butt of all the jokes, and I think that'll get worse, not better. but it's not a joke. With every loss of a business from our state, or even just the loss of a resident, our once proud state stares deeper into that abyss that we're all afraid of. And until they somehow find the courage to make serious spending cuts and stop budgeting for re-election alone, it'll continue to get more difficult to bring new interest, new residents, and bring new businesses to the state of Illinois. Our best approach, as we see it, may be to approach existing Illinois businesses that want to expand and show them that Iroquois County is still the place to do that. To show them what we have to offer with the video and with judicious use of the revolving loan program. Excuse me, and to show them that we care about the success of our people, our families, and our businesses. And speaking of the revolving loan resolution, the Finance Committee has sent that to the board today to put the revolving loan fund back into play here in the county. The discussion at Thursday's meeting was a good one. It was not so much about the resolution as it was about the program strategies document that goes with it. Sherry and I had a long conversation about it. She had some good adjustments that she would like to see made in that document. I agree some of the wording is generalized since it was based on guidelines from the state. But if you recall, I turned the 105-page document from the state into, I think, 5 pages that we're operating off of. But some of the general comments are still in there. I think it's a work in progress. I think that document will need to change as time goes on. The resolution will stand most likely. That document will need to change, from experience and discussion as time goes on. Finance Committee could change it every month if they felt like it, but I think if we take care in choosing a good loan review committee, that the board will probably not want to micromanage that group. Just to mention a few other things that the rumor mill keeps buzzing. Burgers and Beer is still on track for the Celebrations building. That sale closed, but I don't have any timetable for the expected opening. There's a rumor running around town that there's no place to park there, and that the elevator is going to ban them, and that the Copper Pot is going to ban them from their parking lot. I drove down there and just kind of did a quick head count. If they didn't park in either one of those lots, there's 30 parking spots within a half a block of that building. So maybe there could have been a better one, but I'm not sure where. There's a planned replacement already underway for the banquet hall as we speak here. With the closing of the Flower Shack, the Gilman Flower Shop has been pretty busy, and they've been filling the void pretty well. The Scotchman's East was purchased by the former manager, Sammy, I think his name is, of that location, and it's already open for business. The Scotchman's West the sales also closed, and the new owner is planning a late summer, late August, early September reopening. He's doing a lot of work in there. There's, I got to say, moderate interest in Gilman Industrial Park from a previous prospect who saw the video and kind of reperked his memory. I've also learned from people that watch the video watchers. I've also learned of a couple other business buildings that are available that I wasn't aware of. And I'm also working with new prospects that may have solid interest in the Vice building. We'll see. I was afraid maybe that was history, but we'll see. Question?
Thank you. Ken, is there any other outside organization reports from his office?
Good morning. I promise I'm going to keep this short. I am an appointee for the ICANN Joint Education, and we had our meeting, was held at the Watsika Administration Building on Thursday, June 15th, at 1 p.m. Roll call was taken with Steve Lear, Barb Offel, and Tinker Parker present. Those missing were Chad McGinnis, Shane Ritter, and Greg Murphy. The committee approved the March 2017 ICANN minutes, expenditures, and quarterly reports. Impact fee report was given along with the quarterly report of superintendent activity. A sheet for the fiscal year 2018 budget proposal was handed to the members. It's reported that the ICANN office has been moved now to the Special Education Co-op building in Kankakee. There were delayed grants, which were the truancy grant and the the safe school grant. There is position for a part-time social worker and teachers opening. The approved fiscal year 2017 budget for Kankakee County is at $243,083 at 76%, with 46% expenditure to date. For Iroquois County, we are at $73,921 at 24%, with 49% expenditure to date. According to the general ledger, beginning balance is $275,014.74. Credit, $24.89. Expenses, 0. Adjustments, $10.44. Total activity, $70,767.23. With an ending balance of $345,781.97. The proposed budget for fiscal year 18, Kankakee County at 76%, $254,885, and Iroquois County at 24%, $80,490. And I'm going to submit this to the fiscal 18 to the Finance Committee, and the meeting was adjourned at 2:30.
Is there any other outside organization reports? Being none, we'll move on to the committee report. Members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred policy and procedure will beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. The committee met at the Administrative Center on June 29, 2017 at 9 a.m. Members present were John Scher, Lyle Barron, Russell Bills, and Marvin Sticknall. Dan Raymond, Kyle Anderson, and Troy Cromwell were absent. Also present, Finance Director Anita Speckman, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler, ICP HD Administrator Dee Shipper, DMA Director Eric Stacy, County Highway Engineer Joel Moore, County Board Members Charlie Alt and Larry Haspartman. Lota Sanitary District Trustee Paula Rosso, Village of Lota Residents J.R. and Regina Ptacek, Lota Township Residents Ed and Pauline Killen, and Wendy Davis with the Science Republic. The meeting was called to order. Ed Killen introduced himself as the nominee to fill the vacant position on the Lota Sanitary District. He offered to speak during the appointment portion of the meeting. The committee chairman gave the following updates for their respective committees. Russell Bills, Transportation and Highway Committee Chairman, said his committee will be opening bids for a bridge project that was relet from the June committee meeting. Additionally, they will be discussing and acting on an engineering agreement for another bridge project. Lyle Barron's chairman of the Management and Judicial Committees noted that his committees will be receiving regular reports. The Management Committee will also be discussing the 911 lease agreement as well as fiscal year 2018 capital improvement projects. Marvin Sticknall, Tax Committee Chairman, reported the Tax Committee will receive regular reports from the department heads. They will also be discussing animal control. EMA Director Eric Stacy told the committee there have been a number of storms in the area, resulting in very little damage around the area. However, after 7 inches of rain in the Stockland area, there were some roads washed out. The local emergency planning commission has finalized the hazardous material response plan, which has been forwarded onto Springfield for approval. There will be a pipeline tabletop exercise on July 25, which is being held in conjunction with the Onarga Fire Department. Coming up, he will be working on the EMA annual training and exercise plan. Lastly, he commented that EMA will have will be a presence at the upcoming Iroquois County Fair. Eric also addressed the bid that was received for the PA system in the county boardroom. After talking with the representative from the company he has been working with, he was able to get the price reduced to approximately $5,000. He said the pricing is just an estimate because something could come up during installation or another unexpected piece of equipment may be necessary in order to ensure the project is completed properly. After a brief discussion, the committee agreed the amount seems feasible. However, a not-to-exceed stipulation would be in the best interest of the county to make certain the amount doesn't go over budget. It was moved by Bills and seconded to move ahead with the upgraded PA system, provided the amount for the equipment and labor does not exceed $5,500. Motion carried unanimously by a roll call vote. Sure said Senate Bill 1839, which governs ETSP, has not been signed, nor does it seem likely the bill will be signed by the governor before the current statutes governing ETSP run out on July 1, 2017. He explained that he will be involved in a phone conference with people in Springfield, which may shed some light as to what will happen going forward. The committee discussed the vacation policy as it relates to non-union employees. Finance Director Anita Speckman provided the committee with the current vacation policy for non-union employees, in addition to the portion of the AFSCME union contract, which historically was used when determining benefits for non-union employees before the policy manual was adopted. The current personnel manual does not specify the amount of time that can be accrued by a non-union employee, which could create a liability should someone accrue several weeks of vacation throughout the years and then want to take all of their time off at once. The AFSCME contract states that under no circumstances can vacation time exceed 4 weeks in a given year. The committee discussed possible wording for the vacation policy for non-union employees. Several department heads felt the wording in the AFSCME contract would be acceptable for the non-union employee policy. This would allow 4 weeks of accumulated vacation time. SURE interpreted the wording in the contract to read that an employee could not use more than 4 weeks of vacation time. Therefore, an employee could not take off more than that amount of time in a year. Because of the differences in interpretation, it was suggested for Anita to make changes to the policy in writing so the committee could review the wording at the August committee meeting to ensure it is clearly written so there is no question as to the intent of the policy. While reviewing the personal policy manual, Anita found there was no written policy for personal days for non-union employees. She provided the committee with a draft of a written policy that would allow all regular full-time employees 1 personal day per year, awarded on the first day of each fiscal year. This day would be forfeited if not used by the last day of the fiscal year that it is awarded. It was moved by Bills and seconded to approve personal day policy number 1067 as presented. Motion carried unanimously by a roll call vote. In January 2017, a new law became effective requiring units of government to adopt travel expense reimbursement standard forms and limits as to what is paid for travel expense. The county board approved their standard expense form and set the limits. However, there was never a written policy adopted. There was some discussion regarding the clause on the standard form which allows meal reimbursement only on an overnight stay or 12-hour trip. This wording is from IRS guidelines for private businesses and is not a requirement for governmental bodies, so the wording may be able to be changed as the board sees fit. Many department heads commented that their meetings are considered a working lunch and part of attending requires them to pay for the lunch. The committee will discuss the wording for this policy at the next Policy and Procedure Committee meeting. There was no update on the Illinois Bicentennial Initiative. There was no update on the arbitrator ruling on the telecommunicator union negotiations or contract. SURE said there would be appointments made this month and he would like to meet with those persons interested or nominated for the Lotus Sanitary District appointment after the committee meeting. A letter was presented from National Land Realty regarding a solar wind farm in Kankakee County, which will be forwarded on to the Planning and Zoning Committee. The committee reviewed the claim. It was moved by Barron's and seconded to pay the claim, subject to county board approval. Motion carried unanimously by a roll call vote. There was no old business, there was no new business, and as there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Barron's and seconded to adjourn the meeting at 9:52 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all those present, and I move for its adoption. Seconded by Russell Bill. Are there any questions on the report?
How many, talking about personal days, do the non-union employees have sick days or besides vacation time? Or
It's spelled out in the policy manual.
okay.
The personal day was not, and that's not the reason for it.
So there is some other time for sick. Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Bills,
Yes.
Okenauer,
Yes.
Crowe,
No.
Curtis,
Yes.
Halfbargen,
Yes.
Johnson,
No.
Crumweedy,
Yes.
Lemie,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Persley,
Yes.
Raymond, Shore,
Yes.
Sticknott,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Barron.
Yes. The motion passes 15-2. Finance Committee, Mrs. Johnson.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred Finance would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 6, 2017 at 9 a.m. Members present were Kyle Anderson, Charlie Alt, Russell Bill, Ernie Curtis, and Sherry Johnson. Michael McTaggart and Dan Regan were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Schur, Treasurer Kim Hagan, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler, Sheriff Derek Hagan, ICPHD Administrator G. Shepard, EMA Director Eric Cece, AIDA Director Ken Berry, Susie Warner of Homestar Insurance Services, Randy Schultz of Schultz Insurance, and Wendy Davis of the Country Public. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Randy Schultz of Schultz Insurance reported no updates for the month. Susie Warner of Homestar Insurance provided the committee with the renewal rates for Health Alliance effective 12/1/17. The initial rate began at a 13.46% increase, which is high. Warner said the trend is between 10% and 12%. After working with the Health Alliance, Warner said they were able to get the current plan down to a 9.08% increase. Health Alliance also offered another option which would bring the decrease for the renewal by 5.4%. This plan has differences compared to the current plan, such as co-payments and pharmacy benefits, but it offers a wider variety of doctors. The increase is based on the trend of claims paid out by Health Alliance and premiums paid in. The county's trend is at 98%. Warner says she also went to other providers for rates, and they came in much higher than Health Alliance. The renewal for Delta Dental shows an increase in the administrative fee of 3%, but a decrease of 11.9% in the premium. 2 copies of the insurance bid packet were provided for the committee to review. Notice to bid will be sent out on August 1st with the due date of September 1st. Finance Director Anita Speckman has a list of 4 carriers who have been in contact with her that have expressed interest in bidding. It was moved by Charlie Alt and seconded by Sherry Johnson to advertise bids for liability and general insurance in the local newspaper and county website. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Finance Chairman Kyle Anderson said all department heads have received their budget worksheets. The committee received copies of the tentative budget hearing schedule. The revolving loan fund resolution was discussed. AIDA Director Ken Berry provided a resolution for all committee members which allows us to move forward with the next step. Anderson questioned whether or not funds from the blunt loan are to be transferred into the revolving loan fund. Berry said his recollection was that it was part of the revolving loan fund for said payments to be transferred into the fund as they are received. It was moved by Russell Bill and seconded by Ernie Curtis to adopt the resolution for committed fund balance. Johnson voiced her concerns that by accepting the resolution, it automatically means we accept the program strategy. She has issues with the program strategy, such as allowing only one person to decide who can serve on the board for the committee. Also, she has looked into payment protection, and such a thing does exist in this particular instance. Mayor Green explained the resolution merely puts the program back into existence, and the strategy can be changed at any time. A roll call vote was taken. Alt, aye. Bills, aye. Curtis, aye. Johnson, nay. Anderson, nay. Motion carries. The department heads gave their monthly reports. They are as follows. Treasurer Mindy Coon-Pagan reported her office will begin working on the first distribution next week. EMA Director Eric C.C. reported he will be applying for an EOC grant, which is designed for low-income counties. Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yerko reported there is a continued push for tax freeze on the extension side. This will be based on the prior year's extension. There's also a continued push to expand exemptions. ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert reported the Board of Health met last night. Their next meeting will be held August 2nd. Sheriff Derek Hagan reported he has been busy with retirements and resignations. He is currently working on the budget for fiscal year 18. The committee reviewed claims. It was moved by Bill and seconded by Curtis to pay the claims subject to the county board approval. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Charlie Alton, seconded by Ernie Curtis to adjourn at 9:31 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which was respectfully submitted. I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the Finance Committee report. Uncle Bill seconds the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to separate out the revolving loan fund program strategy, or the revolving loan fund resolution for discussion and vote. Separate consideration.
And there's a motion to remove the paragraph at the bottom of the first page and at the top of the second page. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Kogenauer.
No.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Halfbargen.
Yes.
Johnson.
No.
Crumweedy.
No.
Lemie.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
No.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Shore. Signot.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Alt.
No.
Barron.
No.
Bill.
No.
Wait, just a second. Were we voting on separating that out?
Yes.
I would like to change my vote
Okay.
to, yeah. I did not understand where we're at now. We had
I agree with
too many things going on at one time.
Can we get a revote? Move for a revote.
Do you really want to move for a revote, or can we just revote?
We've already won it, haven't we? Well, I realize we did. There's confusion on the motion.
Did it pass? So it's out for separate consideration. So is that fine, out for a separate consideration?
That's what we're voting for? Yes. Separation, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. Pass? I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
It makes the paperwork wide.
Please. Kevin, for the record, you want to...
7.
I was just going to ask, there is a rule allowing vote changes under Robert's rules, so we wouldn't have to revote if members want to change their vote.
Everyone else happy with their vote?
It's 11 to 6. Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, the reason I moved to separate out this document and this resolution is, the main point is that whereas the document titled Revolving Loan Fund Program Strategies is adopted by Iroquois County Board, that document has not been provided to anyone on this board. All we have is just a resolution, so I don't know what the program strategies are. And so as such, if we were to vote for this, it would be like back when they passed the Affordable Care Act, when Nancy Pelosi said, don't worry about reading it, it'll be in the details. Well, I want to know what the details are before we pass this. So I move to recommit this back to the Finance Committee, and we will take it up at another date. Also, my other issue is the county board representative needs to be approved by majority vote, not solely chairman pick. So I would like for the Finance Committee to change that language also.
Mr. Chairman. Maybe the question's for the Finance Committee, but did that not go through the Finance Committee, the revolving loan fund?
My understanding is the program strategy was approved by the Finance Committee and also the revolving loan.
I respect Mr. McGinnis's concerns, but that is one duty of the committees, is that they provide the board with due diligence. So I voted because I trust the committee to do their job. Who else would do that?
Yes, I motion to send it back to Finance Committee
Is there a second to that motion?
versus killing it. I do support the revolving loan fund, but without all the details, I'd like it not to be killed, but to be presented properly.
Is there any discussion? Any questions, comments?
So what exactly are we voting?
This is to
We're
send
going to vote to send it back to
it
the Finance Committee.
And if you vote not to send it back, then what?
Then the vote to, then the Robert's rules, then there would be a vote on accepting it as is. So my motion is to send it back versus taking a full county board vote. If we take a full county board vote, there's a chance that it could be killed, and then the revolving loan program does not occur. This resolution would be null and void with a tax. So I would like for it to go back to committee, make some changes, provide the program strategy to all the board members, and then take it up for a full vote. Versus, because if we don't send it back, I will vote no. So I'd rather keep it alive.
Any other comments, questions? Mr. Bill, do you have something?
I'll tell you what, I think it's a great idea because there is some language issues that Sherry didn't like, which is very minor. I think Sherry and Kenny can get together and get those little language issues taken care of, because I do not see really a difference of opinion, just that we're not there. Issues like not having the information from you, I understand very much, and I think it's a great idea. If you don't have the information, send it back to the committee.
Thank you.
I'll support that. I'll just have a kind of a general comment that goes with the party.
Recognize you, Mr. Renee.
Okay. Thank you. Kind of a general going along with this, when there's a vote to remove for more discussion, I think we should err toward the more discussion. This is a perfect example of, we had a good number of people voting against the discussion, and when we had a discussion, there was actually some good discussion that went on. So I think we should err toward, when somebody wants to separate something, that we consider that and err toward, okay, let's discuss it.
Any other comments?
To avoid further confusion, let's clarify the yes/no vote.
I'm trying to do that.
Apologies.
Thank you, though.
If there are no questions, we'll clerk will call the roll on the motion to send the revolving loan fund back to the Finance Committee.
Crowe,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Askargan.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Crumbleedy.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Shure.
Yes.
Hicknon.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barron. Bill.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
7-0.
Unanimous. It will go back to the Finance Committee. Now we have a motion on the floor for the remainder of the report. And seconded,
I'll second.
is there any further discussion?
Lees.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Apple.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Signa.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Omenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
That passes 17-0 also. Management Services, Mr. Barron.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred management services would beg leave to submit the following report on matters reporting. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 3rd at 9 a.m. Members present were Barron, Alt, Harding, Johnson, McGinnis, and Awful. Coleman was absent. Also present were County Board Chairman John Scher, Maintenance Supervisor Chris Drake, 911 Director Nida Dugal, Finance Director Anita Speckman, Finance Intern Kyle Speckman, and Wendy Davis was the County Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Management Chairman Lyle Barron reported he had received two emails regarding the county farm. First email dated May 11th, dated 2017 project plan as follows. Joe Colgate floor planning plant corn, bird seed variety, spray 32% UAN and herbicide Roundup, Callisto and Redicor, mow roadside 3 times, harvest corn. Second email dated June 9th, stated the farms have been planted and the sides have been mowed and sprayed. Maintenance Supervisor Chris Drake reported on the following. Carpet has been installed in the USDA office. Inspection for the administrative center, jail, and courthouse were due include fire alarms and backflow preventers. Earlier in the month, 2 heat pumps in the administrative center froze. Drake explained he contacted the vendor and had the heat pump serviced. Courthouse experienced a sewer issue recently which caused 3 bathrooms on the second floor to close for the majority of the day. The matter has been resolved. The discussion in last month's meeting, the expansion tank in the basement of the jail has been replaced. Animal Control has requested a panic button to be installed in their office. Only one person works in the office and the cost to install is approximately $500. New software for keyless entry at the courthouse has been installed. Drake and the committee reviewed the list of major repairs compiled by previous maintenance supervisor Larry Sankey. Learned that Drake prioritized the project. Drake stated first priority is the chiller at the courthouse. It is 21 years old and runs on R22. Second priority is cooling tower at the administrative center. The committee continued to review and discuss the list of repairs, including the lack of fire alarm system in the building. The committee agreed the major repairs should begin with fire alarm system and an upgrade of cell blocking mechanisms. Chad McGinnis noted that the public safety tax could pay for these projects. Sharon says we don't know what that amount will be. Barron also asked Drake to get pricing on parking lot for the courthouse. It was moved by Charlie Alt and seconded by Larry Hathard to make recommendations to the Finance Committee to add the fire alarm system, upgrade the cell block locking mechanisms and the courthouse parking lot to the FY 2018 capital improvements project. Roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Sherry Johnson revisited the matter of panic buttons installation and animal control. Drake said the cost would be paid from his maintenance budget. It was moved by McGinnis and seconded by Barb Awful to install a panic button in the animal control office. Roll call vote was taken, motion carried. The discussion was held on the lease agreement for 911. Copies of their lease were distributed as well as a spreadsheet showing the cost per square feet for all renters in the administrative center. Barron said we can keep 911 at a 1-year lease or opt for a multiple year lease. Paul stated he does not think the committee should commit to anything longer than 1 year, while Johnson believes a 3-year lease should be signed with a rent increase done in increments. It is moved by Awful and seconded by All to enter into a 1-year lease with 911 at a rate of 5.39 per square foot. Roll call vote was taken. All aye, Hathard aye, Johnson nay, McGinnis aye, Awful A, Barron A, motion carried. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Hathard and seconded by Awful to pay the claims, subject to county board approval. Motion carried by a roll call vote. Under new business, Alt said it was brought to his attention from local farmers that the county should hold their meeting earlier in the summer when bidding out the county farm. and also opt for a 3-year lease rather than 1 year. It was agreed to hold a special management meeting at 9 a.m. on August 14th to open bids for the county farm. It was moved by Hathbarden, second by Awful, to adjourn the meeting at 9:38 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all wishes are respectfully submitted, and I move for adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the management report, is there a second? Mr. Ralph. Discussion or comments?
We were gonna have a special meeting, we have to change the date on that meeting because the room's not available.
Pull that up.
Pull that for some consideration.
Just they really need to pull that for separate consideration, just to change
Meeting
the meeting,
Okay. So we can just discuss the changes.
and it will be put in the full minutes that it's changed. There'll be a note in there. Put a note in there. You're gonna be pulling everything out of every meeting.
That's okay.
Okay.
More work for you.
The following day, Tuesday, if that works for the
What'd you say?
Tuesday, 14th or
15?
15th.
At what time, 9 a.m.?
Maybe 9 a.m.
On the 15th of August?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to hear back here. It's really raining.
I'm sorry. August 15th, Tuesday at 9 a.m. is what we're looking at. Yeah.
Can we separate that lease agreement out of this?
What?
Well, I just think at 87%.
Motion. Just, you make a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion
And
to
then you
separate
second it,
that
someone
out.
has a second.
The lease agreement for not.
Where's that at? In here. Right here.
I'll second her motion.
Were we done with the other? Yeah. We're done with that.
We're gonna separate, one on the motion to separate the paragraph on the second page, where it says discussion was held on lease agreement for non-litigation.
You guys are really gonna have to yell.
Harry Johnson made the motion, is there a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Ed, McGinnis seconds the motion.
It's raining so hard we can't hear.
Turn the faucet off.
I'll get you some battery.
Thanks a lot, Chad.
Okay, so we
Is
have
there
a
any
motion.
discussion or questions about the motion? Mrs. Grow?
What was the previous square foot on the rate?
It was, I believe it was just figured at a flat, no?
Well, it was a flat rate, but it worked out, they were paying $2.87. The $5.39 is the cost of utilities and janitorial service for this building.
So
So we're
basically,
asking them to reimburse the general fund for the cost of that space.
basically, what we've been trying to do with the leases is get everybody to pay the same amount per square foot. This is a little less than some because it's a yearly, whereas others we kind of average because they were 3-year. But we're trying to make it so everybody's paying basically the same amount just to cover our costs. And that's all we're basically doing is getting our costs covered for utilities and maintenance and stuff. So that $5 and whatever. Yeah.
Just a point of order before discussion, we need to,
Trying to do that.
that's what I'm calling it out for.
We need to vote on the motion that separates us out first, and then we'll discuss it. Call the roll, please.
So this isn't separated. Okay. Sure. Hathbarden.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Crowley.
No.
Lamine.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yeah.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Shure.
No.
Signon.
No.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Ball.
No.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
No.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis?
No.
So 12 to 5, that passed.
Okay, that paragraph is separated out. Do you have any questions, Mrs. Crowe?
What? I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett.
We're going to have discussion on the vote to lease. You brought something up about the amount of rent. Do
Right.
you have any further question about that?
Well, I just wonder about, I understand and I don't disagree with recovering our costs, but since the 911 is a quasi entity of the county, as is the health department, I just want, and of course the health department doesn't pay rent, that's been agreed. I just wonder about the advisability of 911 doing that, whereas we give them money and they give us money back.
We don't get 911. This is your joint dispatch for telecommunicators. 911 is 100% funded by the telephone tax
So they have their own
funding source.
funding for tax budget.
And the lease is with the ETSC, joint dispatch.
Yes.
That's this new raise. That raise their rent $5,000 a year. They had agreed previously to just give the county $5,000. And we just took it. So if I was them, I wouldn't give us another $5,000. That's all.
Nina, you had something or not?
The $5,000 is to support the IT center. 911 used to have their own server, which was 10 years old. We put them on the county's infrastructure, backbone. We pay for SAM support for all of them. We cover updating their computers, the software updates. That's what the $5,000 is for. That just started last year. Before that, they paid nothing. One other comment I'd like to make about this, it is $4,500 increase. The rate paid to 911 via the telephone tax was increased in January of 2016. Since that time, their average checking account balance has gone from $25,000 to $320,000. The funding, what is happening now is general funds, where we've cut 1 to 2 people every year out of this building to try to pay our bills. That's what funds the utilities. We're at the maximum we can charge on the levy, right? Every year I'm pushing during the budget process, and we're cutting people in zoning is completely gone, and we roll that in. We're cutting people, 1 to 2 people every year to try and balance the budget. I'm not asking for an astronomical amount. I'm just saying, don't we need to pay for things in the right funding source? We know what it costs to support that section of the building. We have documented it. To make the general funds pay it, where we're cutting people every year, is really what I'm trying to avoid. That's the point we're at right now.
Nida was at the meeting and she didn't voice any concerns at the meeting all good, so.
Well, we didn't really have discussion at the meeting about it, though. It just kind of went through.
I've got a question on the amount. So I think it's good that you're, level loading the rent amount. That's the smart thing. But we put a lot of money into the building over the last 4 or 5 years, and I thought some rents were offset to compensate some of the overhaul, or have those been absorbed?
I'm not sure which part you're talking about. The
That whole
USDA, they
rent.
pay only for the renovations to their building. Now, the cost for, like the heat pumps, which are general use, the roof, those I've amortized the roof over 15 years. So those expenses are in the $5.39.
Okay, so
One
you're
week-
leveling it out after everything's been considered. Good.
Yes.
Good.
And, I mean, We did pay for some remodeling when they did, put in the new consoles at 911. That came out of our maintenance budget. So, you know, there are expenses that we have. You know, we could have made them pay for it out of their budget. We paid for it. So, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to have them pay the same rent as everybody else. They're not at this time hurting for money.
So Anita, just a simple question for me, which is why I supported to separate this out for discussion. Because looking back, I didn't really vote. I don't know, I got, looking back and stuff, I was confused. The rate we're going to charge them covers our costs, janitorial, roofing, power, all that. We're not using them to make money. We're just allowing some of their funds to be transferred to pay actual costs.
Right.
And that's the part that I wasn't sure on, and I wanted to get clarification and discuss.
Right.
So I can support this.
Because actually, if we don't raise it a little, then we are subsidizing them.
Right.
We're not making money on anybody. Is there any further discussion on this?
I just wondered why we couldn't do a longer than 1 year lease and raise it in an increment. I think that's just, I don't know what their budget is. I mean, I don't know what their facts and figures are. We're not presented with that, but I feel like that's a pretty substantial increase just all at one time.
I mean, we can do whatever. I mean, it's going to average out to the same, so.
Well, you could do it so that it was incremented, and then the second year you can raise it again, knowing it's going to go into the third year. I mean, you know, you could end up your third year actually making it even more if you needed to, but I think over a 2 year, you know, part of it goes like the ceiling. I don't think you should upset people.
There were some others that, when we raised their rent, it jumped considerable too.
Yes.
I mean, some of the other renters, but, you know, it had been neglected for a long time, so just to get our costs back, it was a jump for a while, for some of them. Some of them had been kept up, and I don't know why in the past they were all at different levels, but we're trying to get them all the same.
Any other further discussion on this matter? Nobody making a motion to do anything, so I believe as far as I'm concerned, the matter dies.
So it remains as is when the committee.
Committee report.
Nobody's asked, but you know, mostly clarifying the $5.39.
I think that.
We will go to the vote on the report. Call the roll, please.
Okay, so this is a roll call for the management committee report. Johnson. No. Crumpy.
Yes.
Lamine.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Papa.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Sticknot.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hackbarth.
Yes.
15-1.
15-1, that motion is approved. Tax committee, Mr. Stickman.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred tax would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 5th, 2017 at 9 a.m. Members present were Sticknot, Kokenauer, McTaggart, Persley, and Whitlow. Crumley and Hoffel were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Shearer, Finance Director Anita Speckman, Finance Intern Kyle Speckman, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yerger, IC PhD Administrator D. Shippert, County Board Member Larry Hesbargen, Iroquois County Resident Carrie Brown, and Lindy Davis with the Times Republic.
The meeting was called to order. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Fursley and seconded by McTaggart to play the claims for subject to county approval. Motion carried by roll call vote. During public comments, County Board member Larry Hasbargen told the committee he had submitted a FOIA to Animal Control Administrator Dr. Eustace for all the dogs that were euthanized on June 12th. The response Hasbargen received shows a dog was euthanized that belonged to an individual who was found deceased with the dog lying beside her. Reports from the veterinarian show the dog was in good health and all shots were up to date. Hasbargen said he called the father of the deceased individual and he was told the dog would be sent to Danville, but there were some expenses. The father was never given the option of adopting the dog out to another family. Hasbargen also sent a FOIA to the Maine County Animal Control asking how many dogs had been euthanized in 2015, 2016, and 2017. Their response was 2015, 366, 2016, 273, 2017, 113 to date. Make note, this is not Iroquois County dogs. This is total dogs in that facility. This is considered a high-kill shelter and not something we should be involved with. Iroquois County resident Carrie Brown spoke to the committee about filling in for the animal control warden in June. During that time, she noticed the dogs were not being weighed as they should have been. By weighing them, this allows you to know how much medication to administer to the dog and the amount of food to give them. She also expressed concern about the contamination because of the way the clinic is set up. The county dogs are held with the clinic dogs and use the same common area to use the bathroom. Pause for a minute. I was out there yesterday, toured the facility for the second time, and that is untrue. The dogs are kept separately. Ms. Brown said she was on scene for the incident Hasbargen spoke of with the deceased individual. There was no reason for the dog to be put down. Also, the father gave a $100 donation to iCare for the cat that was in the residence to be adopted out. Ms. Brown said it is free to relinquish your dog, and the father asked if the dog could be adopted out. Dr. Yusuf made up a fictitious amount to transfer the dog to a shelter. In another instance, Ms. Brown picked up 2 loose dogs. The owners were told they could only pay in cash to pick up their dogs. She showed Dr. Yusuf the state statute which shows that you must hold dogs for 7 business days before euthanizing them. Ms. Brown also stated no exams were given to the dogs when they were brought in. They are treated for fleas and nothing else. She said there is a local business owner willing to donate a building for an entire year due to a bad experience they had with Dr. Yusuf. They have also spoken to a veterinarian who would come every Thursday. Lastly, Ms. Brown noted that the Animal Control Warden, Jamie Fanning, has not euthanized any dogs since she's been there. She has successfully adopted out many dogs. The department heads gave their monthly reports. County Clerk Lisa Fancher stated the next election is March 20th, 2018. Petition circulation will start on September 5th. Supervisor of Assessments, Bob Yerler, in his office continues to process assessor changes. Finance Director Anita Speckman explained tax Chairman Marvin Sticknott asked her to create an analysis of whether or not the fees being charged for animal control are covering costs. There have been some changes in the way we handle our licensing. In 2016, the county began offering 3-year tags, and it was also the first year we put the $10 differential in for altered versus unaltered dogs. The typical run rate for revenue was $90,000 per year before these changes took place. For 2016, the revenue was $92,000. Speckman also put animal control clerk salary under the county board fund. Speckman explained the animal control clerk is working solely out of the animal control office and not being utilized out of other departments at this time. The report shows historically we usually ran revenue higher than expenses by $32,000 per year. Speckman said in 2014 it dropped to $14,000, $18,000 in 2015, and $13,000 in 2016. We had higher costs but not lower revenue over the last 3 years. Speckman noted there was an animal control warden on payroll but was transferred to a contracted employee who charges us by each dog picked up. Speckman says she expected to see revenue decrease because of people buying 3-year tags last year. It is anticipated that fewer will buy tags this year, but the report shows otherwise. There is already $67,000 in tags sold with a budget of $70,000. However, we don't know the impact of the 3-year tags for the coming years. Speckman discussed accounting issues in the Animal Control Office. Speckman explained the process consists of tags being paid for in the Animal Control Office, and each day the Animal Control clerk prints a report from the Animal Control accounting software with the amount of each tag sold. The clerk writes how many dogs are altered or are unaltered. The money and the report are given to the treasurer's office, and they balance the deposit. Speckman said in this particular instance, the report indicated there were 7.42 tags and 4.5 tags sold. The treasurer's office was unsure how to handle the situation and asked Speckman for help. Speckman went to Animal Control and asked for her process for a report that shows how many tags were sold that day. Speckman said the report did not tie out to the amount of the deposit, nor did it tie out to the amount of tags sold. Speckman assisted with the deposits for a week and determined the errors lie with the deposit process and not the reporting. The deposit is done each day at 3 p.m. If a customer buys a tag after 3 p.m., it is still entered for the current business day instead of next business day. The other issue is the reporting of half a dog due to a customer paying for an outstanding amount for the previous year. The previous practice was if you come in to pay for this year's tag but haven't paid last year's, you must pay last year's first. Speckman believes it is very important that the animal control clerk receives proper training, but Speckman is unsure where this training will come from. There should also be step-by-step procedures on how the job functions. A draft was started in 2015, but was never finalized. Sticknot asked Speckman to email the draft to him for review. The committee will review the draft in a future meeting. Sticknot suggested the meeting continue with animal control in executive session. Lindy Davis with the Times Republic asked for transparency's sake if the meeting can be held in open session because so much of the topic has been discussed already. Davis says she spoke with State's Attorney Jim Devine and he stated the meeting does not have to be in closed session. Sticknot said he would rather the following discussion be held in closed session. It was moved by McTaggart, seconded by Copenhauer to enter executive session at 10:01 a.m. to discuss 5 ILSD 120/2C, the appointment, employment, or compensation of public employees. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. It was moved by Copenhauer, seconded by Burnley, to come out of executive session at 10:34. Motion carried by a voice vote. No action was taken in executive session. Sticknot stated the committee listened to alleged statements, however, there isn't enough evidence to make a decision. The matter will be tabled until next month, which will allow the committee to speak to Animal Control Director Dr. Youssef. As there was no further business come before the committee, it was moved by Whitlow and seconded by McTaggart to adjourn the meeting at 10:37 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectively submitted, signed by all of those present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the tax report. Is there a second? The first and second. Any discussion or comments on the report?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to explain a little bit on what happened at that meeting. I had it set up for executive session under animal control so that we could go into executive session and discuss the allegations that were made at the previous board meeting. Mr. Hasbargen decided that he would, in executive session, parade his little dog and pony show.
I object to that point of order, Mr. Chairman.
You're out of order, Mr.
He's out of order of his point.
I support the objection. We should not be using words like dog and pony show. It's just proper order when talking about the chair.
I apologize for that.
I agree, but yes.
Mr. Hasbargen proceeded to discuss it all in open session in front of the news media. It should have been taken into executive session. It should have been discussed there. The allegations should have been discussed and try to come to the conclusion whether there was substance or not. I was a little unhappy that the way that went. I not only unhappy, I was outraged. I was incensed. That is not the way the meeting is supposed to go. Mr. Hasbargen surely knows better than that. In lieu of the fact that Mr. Hasbargen did a very, very thorough job of trying to destroy Mr. Yusuf's reputation, in lieu of the fact that he has physically threatened visitors in 911 meeting, and the fact that he's made false accusations about the health department's finances, I would strongly suggest that the next PNP meeting, they propose a resolution of censure to Mr. Hasbargen. And Larry, Rod Kobus is not behind this.
Now, you've made your statement, can I make mine? There to give his report. When I put my FOIA in to him, he delivered the papers. He told them the owner asked this dog be with his daughter, dead daughter. He didn't. I talked to the owner. He did not request that. The owner was told the dog would be sent to Danville, which is the high-kill shelter, or Mr. Yusuf could euthanize it, take care of himself for $75 there, what he could. I talked to the man personally. I also listened to your comment about ignorance of the law when I told he wasn't given all the responsibilities. Pretty good comment there, too.
Any other comments about the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Pursley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Shure.
Yes.
Sticknot.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hasbargen.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes.
The motion passes 17-0. Health, Mr. Crumby.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom is referred health begs leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 5, 2017 from 5 a.m. Members present: Crumway, McTaggart, Kokenauer, Pursley, and Whitlow. Awful was absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Shure, ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert, County Board members Larry Hasbargen and Martin Sticknot. Also Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. ICPHD Administrator D. Shippert reviewed the grants and contract spreadsheet with the committee. The WIC program is no longer applicable. The deadline to apply for the grant was missed and the program has been picked up by the Champaign-Urbana Health District. Services will remain in Iroquois County with the same staff. Shippert said they are waiting for grant allocation amounts for the Body Art Control Grant, Child and Adult Care Food Program, Summer Food Program, Tanning Program, and the Radon Program. Shippert pointed out that Illinois Department of Revenue grant stating this is a new contract that the Health Department has never had before. The Enforcement Division of the Illinois Liquor Control Commission is offering the opportunity for health departments to do liquor control inspections when they do their food establishment inspection. It consists of a one-page inspection report to be sent back to the Illinois Liquor Control Commission. Shippert said she will be discussing this with the Board of Health tonight at their meeting. The contract amounts to $75 per inspection for a total of approximately 79 establishments. The committee reviewed the program summary report for June. Shippert pointed out the numbers for mosquito samples for West Nile Sick Valley. She also noted childhood immunizations continue to increase. Shippert asked the committee if they would like to continue having Health Department and a Health Department employee attend the Health Committee meeting each month to talk about programs offered at the Health Department. The committee agreed having them attend with their presentation is very informative. Shippert said she has a Board of Health meeting tonight. Health Committee Chairman Crumwoody suggested Shippert speak to the Board of Health Committee about IT. Shippert said she plans to discuss the matter with the board. The progress the county has made with IT has been good and needs to continue. She also intends to contribute more towards IT this year than she did last year because it is in their best interest. Under new business, Persley spoke to Shippert about a home in Lake Iroquois that has been abandoned for many years. He asked who has the power to inspect the home and condemn the home. Shippert told Persley to start speaking to Director of Environmental Health, Hyman, and if there is a public health issue with the property, then he will inspect it and report it to the State Attorney, Jim Devine. If a public health issue is not found, he will have to speak with his homeowners association. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by McTaggart and seconded by Kopenauer to adjourn at 11:07 a.m. All which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
The motion on the floor to approve the Health Committee report, is there a second? This is awful. Any questions or comments about the report? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll, please.
Lamine,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Persley,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Sticknot,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yeah.
Kopenauer,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Curtis, Asbargen,
Yes.
Johnson, Crumweedy.
Yes.
The motion passes 17-0. IT, Mr. Plummer.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred IT would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 5th, 2017 at 11:14 a.m. Members present, Crumwoody, McTaggart, Bills, and Schur. Also present, Finance Director Anita Speckman, ICPHD Director D. Shippert, Rusty Sowers with area-wide County Board Member Larry Hasbargen, Finance Intern Kyle Speckman, and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. There were no public comments. Finance Director Anita Speckman distributed area-wide fiscal year 18 budget considerations. Speckman explained the IT lifecycle planning for fiscal year 18 includes computers for finance and research. Rusty Sowers area-wide reviewed the budget and lifecycle considerations with the committee. Sowers also discussed cybersecurity controls and provided a list of 5 controls to be put in place. County Clerk Lisa Fancher said she believes federal money may be available at some point for cybersecurity. County Board Chairman John Schur suggested putting $15,000 in the contingency fund. The committee agreed with Schur's recommendation on putting $15,000 in the contingency fund, but not specifying which project will be funded. Sowers added that area-wide has drafted an IT policy that he will send to the inspector. This form should be available for all users. Lastly, the committee discussed cloud storage. Sowers said the first step is making sure all software is supported by the cloud. Also, a second internet service provider is needed in case of failure or loss of service. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Schur and seconded by McTaggart to adjourn at 12:11 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote. All which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I move for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the IT Committee report, seconded by Mr. Bills. Are there any questions or comments? Mr. McGinnis?
Kevin, for the $15,000 in the contingency fund, and says the committee agreed with Schur's recommendation, was that a motion that was done that the minutes should be amended to reflect?
No, there was no motion.
Something is planning on the budget for the coming year?
Okay. That was my question, if there's motions.
So I had to clarify on the $15,000. We've got some worksheets available for both the life cycle and the budget recommendations, but what we discussed, and it's not in the minutes, is we looked out 3 and 4 years, took the amount of the project, and tried to back in the level load them, so it's not a big jump from the 2020. So the 15,000 is more or less for incidental, it's like we have encountered every year, and that's sort of that.
Okay, yeah, my question was if it was just a motion to spend something or just for the finance future, so. That's fine.
Any other questions on the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Apple,
Yes.
Hursley,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Kipnop,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Hogenauer,
Yes.
Crowe, Curtis,
Yes.
Asbargen,
Yes.
Johnson, Dunleavy, Lemay.
Yes.
That motion passes 16-0. Judicial and Public Safety, Mr. Stern.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred to judicial and public safety would beg to please submit the following report on matters before them. Your committee met at the courthouse on July 5, 2017 at 3 p.m. Members present were Barron, McGinnis, Crowe, Curtis, Lemay, and Whitlow. Arbuckle was absent. Also present, Coroner Bill Cheatham, Probation Supervisor Barbara King, State Attorney Jim Devine, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, 911 Director Nyla Rubel, County Board Chairman John Short, County Board Member Larry Hassler, and Wendy Davis with Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. The committee reviewed the agenda. It was moved by Vince Lemay and seconded by Donna Crowe to approve the judicial and public safety agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. Coroner Bill Cheatham reported 2 autopsies for last month. Cheatham will be attending training next month for continuing education. Probation Supervisor Bob King reviewed the probation and court services activity report for June 2017 with the committee. 911 Director Nyla Rubel distributed the ETFD monthly report to the committee. Rubel also reported she hired 2 telecommunicators on June 20th. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines distributed the monthly report to the committee for the review. Total of $52,275.55 in fines and fees were received for the month, and $40,228.71 was received from credit collection partners over the past 6 months. State Attorney Jim Devine updated the committee on his upcoming trials. The committee held a discussion on ETFD. Chad McGinnis distributed the new ETFD law to the committee. McGinnis noted the section that references the number of board members, states one of whom may be a member of the county board. McGinnis asked the committee to read through this law and decide how we want the ordinance written. McGinnis has already begun compiling a list of suggested changes. The committee reviewed claims. It was moved by Ernie Furnace, seconded by Jed Whitlow to pay claims subject to county board approval. Roll call vote was taken, motion carried. There is no further business to come before the committee. It was moved by Lemay, seconded by Crowe to adjourn the meeting at 3:29 p.m. Motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, and I move for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? Second by Barb also. Any discussion? Seeing none, call roll, please.
Apple,
Yes.
Hursley, Hursley,
Oh, yes, okay.
Raymond,
Yes.
Stewart, Kipnop,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Hogenauer,
Yes.
Crowe, Curtis, Asbargen,
Yes.
Johnson, Crumley,
Yes.
Lemay,
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
The motion passes 15-0. Planning and zoning, Mr. Raymond.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom is referred planning and zoning will beg you to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on July 7, 2017 at 10:15 a.m. Members present were Dan Raymond, Martin Sticknoff, Ernie Curtis, Chad McGinnis. Dan Bursley was absent. Also present, Supervisor of Assessment Bob Yergler, County Board Chairman John Turner, County Board Member Larry Aspargan, Jennifer Martin of Kepler Broom, Jeff Ward from Patriot Engineering, Mark Wolfson with SGC Power, and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Martin Sticknoff and seconded by Ernie Curtis to approve the planning and zoning agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. During public comments, Jennifer Martin with Kepler Broom addressed the committee on behalf of First Financial Bank in regards to the groundwater ordinance. The property in question is the old Howard Industries building in Milford. Howard Industries was regulated as a hazardous waste generator and storage facility. They operated at this location from 1960 until 1995. In November of 1995, they shut down their operations, and in February of 1996, they declared bankruptcy. Since that time, no one has operated at the property. The property was the subject of several foreclosures by different banks and ultimately acquired by a bank in Danville that closed and ended up with First Financial Bank. First Financial Bank obtained title in 2009. Ms. Hepler said the First Financial Bank hired Patriot Engineering to do environmental investigation on the property. Jeff Ward with Patriot Engineering said they have taken over 200 samples at this location and have never found any off-site contamination with the exception of some low-level metal contamination on one side of the highway. Mr. Ward and Ms. Hepler explained they have spoken to the landowners on each side, have no problems with the ordinance being passed. They also have the city ordinance already in place. Both Mr. Ward and Ms. Hepler will attend the county board meeting on July 11th to provide this information to the full county board. The committee reviewed the Public Planning and Zoning Office report for June. It reads as follows. Building permits June 2017, residential 6, agricultural 0. Building permits fiscal year 17, residential 37, agriculture 1. Building inspections June 2017, 9. 2 applicants for zoning board of appeals for August. Brian and Ann Johnson, conditional use variance for 5 to 9 dog kennel license. Also rezoning from A1 to RH1 for Eric and Angela Gates. Yergler reported a variance application was received from Patrick McMahon to build an FBI building. Yergler said it was approved unanimously by the zoning board of appeals. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and seconded by Ernie Curtis to approve the variance application of Patrick McMahon to build an FBI building in the Rock subdivision closer to the road than the 50-foot required setback. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Yergler informed Mr. McMahon he is not required to attend the county board meeting on July 11th, but he can to address any questions that he may be asked. The committee discussed the general ordinance. Mr. McGinnis offered his suggestions for changes. The committee reviewed the draft of the solar farm ordinance. McGinnis informed the committee the Farm Bureau is holding a meeting in their office on July 10th at 6 p.m. to educate farmers on solar farms. Yergler reminded the committee of the steps involved in putting a new ordinance in place, which includes approval of the zoning board of appeals, publishing a notice in the paper for 15 days prior to the hearing. Planning and zoning chairman Dan Raymond stated he would like to see the ordinance completed next month and that a special meeting needs to be scheduled. It was moved by Marvin Sticknoff and seconded by Ernie Curtis to place a temporary moratorium on applications for solar farms to expire September 12th. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. Raymond noted Iroquois County does not want to rush into anything and get into a predicament like the wind farms. We want to be sure to do this right. The whole point of this is to do this correctly for the county and at the same time be fair and encourage solar production in Iroquois County. The committee agreed upon setting a special meeting date for July 12th at 6 p.m. to work on the solar farm ordinance. Mark Wilkerson of SGC Power spoke to the committee about solar energy. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Curtis, seconded by McGinnis to pay the claims subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Curtis, seconded by McGinnis to adjourn at 11:33 a.m. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and moved for its adoption.
Motion on the floor to approve the planning and zoning committee report. Is there a second? heard the second. Any questions or comments on the report? Mr. Bowman?
What's the ordinance that they're talking about at Howard Industries? What are they wanting us to
There'll be
do?
a presentation made upon that in a few seconds, which we can get this report done. Any other questions? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Herzlich.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Bickheim. Whitlow.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Biddle.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Curtis. Hasbargen.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Crumweedy.
Yes.
Lemay.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yeah.
The motion is approved 17-0. This time, Jennifer Martin from the Heifer is going to make a presentation on the groundwater ordinance for the former Howard Industries site.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Martin, and I'm an attorney with Heifer Group.
Can you come on the floor
Yeah.
to the microphone?
Yeah, I get down. Here, can you hear me? Okay. I'm in the Springfield office, and I represent First Financial Bank, and I have with me here today Mr. Randolph Snyder from First Financial Bank, who's in the back of the room. First Financial is headquartered out of Indianapolis, so he's made that trip here. Terre Haute, sorry, made that trip here today. And I also have Jeff Ward from Patriot Engineering, who is the consultant for First Financial Bank. Does everyone have a copy of the business? No. Okay. I have some copies, and I'm going to have an extra for everybody. But maybe that he provided. Okay, just with a little bit of background here. The property we're talking about is the former Howard Industries site. I'm sure that you all are way more familiar with it than I am. It's to the east side of Highway 1, and we have a map here. And this property...
Everyone see that map all right?
It's got one attached to the ordinance. Yeah, the same picture, yeah, thank you. Same picture is attached to the ordinance. This property, as you all know, was, I think, farmland until the early 1950s when it was the Fred Naslund Bed Spring Factory, which operated on this side of Highway 1, built a manufacturing building on the east side of Highway 1. And Howard Industries purchased the site in the very early 1960s, and they began operating at the site. They constructed several manufacturing buildings. They manufactured and assembled motors and ancillary parts. And this little portion of the property down here was a farm implement store for a while, and then it was a gas station and a restaurant. And Howard Industries, we know from looking at Illinois EPA records, that Howard Industries was a hazardous waste generator. They had generated hazardous waste in connection with their operations, and they were also regulated as a hazardous waste storage facility. Now, Howard Industries shut down their operations in November of 1995, and they declared bankruptcy in February of 1996, and there is no longer an entity associated with Howard Industries. This property was the subject of several foreclosure proceedings and was, I think, kind of passed through several banks. The bank that ultimately acquired title was the bank out of Danville, and they were shut down by the FDIC. And after they were shut down, First Financial Bank acquired title of the property, along with some other assets of that bank. Now, one important thing for me to explain to you is that under Illinois law, Illinois has a set of statutes that are environmental statutes, and the primary one is the Illinois Environmental Protection Act. The Illinois Environmental Protection Act sets out who is responsible for cleaning up contamination. And section 58.9 of the Illinois Environmental Protection Act says that the state cannot pursue a party that did not cause or contribute to contamination of a property. That those folks are not responsible parties. So First Financial Bank has never operated at this property. All they've ever done is clean it up. They are not a responsible party under Illinois law, and the state of Illinois will never pursue them to clean up the property. But what happened was, in 2009, when they acquired the property, First Financial Bank, being a responsible banking entity, hired an environmental company, Patriot Engineering, to come out and start looking at the property and see what the property conditions were like from an environmental standpoint. And Patriot began investigating the property in 2009. The goal of the investigation was to put the property back into use, to get it into shape so that some purchaser could come along and the property could be used again. First Financial Bank, some of you may be familiar with them. They're a regional bank. They are a strong supporter of local communities in this area, and also the projects to promote economic growth in this area. And this was that type of project. However, the investigation at this site, I think, went on. I think it's fair to say it went on a little longer than First Financial Bank anticipated. And in 2013, they made the decision to put the site into the Illinois Site Remediation Program, which is a voluntary cleanup program. You put the site in that program, Illinois EPA assigns a project manager to the site, and you're under statute, by statute, you're required to submit a set of reports to the project manager. You pay for Illinois EPA's oversight, you pay the project manager's costs, and they review and approve or reject or modify all of the reports that you submit. It's a very, very comprehensive process. At the end of the day, if Illinois EPA is satisfied that you have taken all the action you could to address contamination, they will issue what's called a no further remediation letter. And that letter is recorded with the title to the property, so that it puts any future buyer of the property on notice of any conditions that may still exist at the property. And most importantly, it allows the property to be transferred. In Illinois, lenders will issue financing for properties within a FAR letters. So First Financial Bank enrolled the site in the site remediation program, like I said, a voluntary cleanup program. They have spent over $1 million in cleanup costs for this site. And I know there's some thought that maybe there was governmental grant funds available to do this cleanup, or brownfield grant funds. None of that money was available. This has been First Financial Bank's expense. And I want to explain to you, we met last week with the Zoning and Planning Committee. We gave them sort of the same presentation that we're giving you. I've also met with the state's attorney and with Mr. Ingham from the Health Department, and we provided them as much information as we could about this. We've contacted all of the property owners that are affected by the ordinance. So let me just show you real quickly. This property up here, the ordinance area that we're talking about here is the area in yellow. This area right here is covered by a city ordinance, which the city has already passed and which is in place. And this area here, First Financial Bank owns this property up here. The railroad owns this property. Mrs. Looker, Carolyn Looker owns property here. Mrs. Crow on the board owns this property down here. And I'm blanking on the name. Glover owns the property back here. Thank you. And we have provided information to all of the affected property owners who were not us. I sat down with Mrs. Looker and explained the ordinance to her, and all of the property owners have told us that we could indicate to the county board that they don't have an objection to the ordinance. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Ward and let him explain a little bit from a technical standpoint the work that was done.
Sure. Good morning, I'm Jeff Ward. I took over as project manager for the site back in 2013. About the same time that was enrolled in the voluntary remediation program with Illinois EPA. And like has been said, we've done significant investigation throughout the property. And what we've had to do as part of that investigation is satisfy EPA that we have delineated or defined the extent of contamination both vertically and horizontally throughout the site, and even if it goes off-site. And we've done that. And that's what's brought us to this point. where the next step would be to apply this ordinance to cover the potentiality for contaminants to move off-site. Now, we've measured on several occasions for contaminants off the site. Groundwater flow is to the west, and we've not found any of the significant contamination that is of most concern that exists in this area of the site, where there were solvents used as part of Howard's process. This represents a worst-case scenario whereby over time, if the contaminants were to move along with the groundwater flow direction, this is the furthest that the contaminants would go before they degrade or dilute to the point to where they're lower than the allowable limits established by EPA. Really, all that remains to be done with the site, now that we've thoroughly, investigated and defined those limits of contamination, is to apply this ordinance to protect the population, protect property owners from contact with groundwater that may, over time, there is a potential over time for those contaminants to move into this yellow area. But again, these contaminants have been in the ground since at least the 1990s, and we have never measured any hint of them in any of these wells along the western side of the highway. I don't know if we're going to bring it up now, the IDOT issue with the soil, but I don't want to throw too many things out here, but I did meet with Ted Foltz at IDOT to discuss and look at the potential for conflict with their activities versus where contamination exists on our property. There really is no potential for conflict in that regard. Our nearest source or nearest point of contamination that we've measured on the site lies about 100 feet south of where they're going to do work. Their work here involves minimal activity to expand the highway for a turnoff. There's no excavating, there's no groundwater removal, and they're actually leaning towards not doing this at all right now. So this is really a non-issue as far as any interference with contaminants on the property and the activities of the IDOT expansion. Any questions now, or?
And if anyone has a question, please don't hesitate to stop us.
What kind of contamination is it?
It's a trichloroethylene.
Say that again?
Trichloroethylene. It's a common solvent used in dry cleaning and degreasing operations.
Does the well water have any contamination in it?
Well, there are no wells on the site. The groundwater on the site does contain TCE contamination.
Okay, what about the neighbors across the road?
We have not found that. We have wells located across the road that we've tested, and we've never
The
found
wells
that.
seem to be
The
okay?
wells have always been clean for TCE.
Like the Crow residence and the
We do have,
Looker residence?
we do have wells on the Crow residence and on the Looker residence,
And okay.
and they're okay. And one thing that we've done here is gone anywhere off-site where there's no contamination, we've actually drilled nested wells so that we can measure contamination at depth versus at the water table, and zero on both accounts.
This picture here is kind of helpful because it shows really the only hot spot on the site. And it's on the railroad, kind of on the east side of the property and on the railroad property. We are in contact with the railroad, in communication with them. They're entirely aware of what's going on here.
In the old Howard facility, this is where they did a lot of grinding and working and degreasing work. And so this is our problem child right here. This is where the biggest issue for us is. And so our model, again, that we've had to present to IEPA to show what the potential is for contaminants to move off the site, indicates, again, that they would not extend further than what the ordinance map shows. And that, again, that's a worst-case scenario. And the actual data that we have over the years shows nothing moving off the property with regard to TCE. And we did find some low-level metals, or some magnesium in the water, some chromium in the water, and we're not real sure where that could have come from. We don't have any exceedances of those contaminants on the property in the soils. One of the hypotheses is that this is along a highway, and you get salt and vehicle runoff, and those, motor oil and fluids from vehicles contain all of those elements. So that's one possibility. Yes?
I own the property in question. I think you all know that, one of the pieces of property. And it is true that I don't have an objection. I would clarify that I'm speaking as a citizen right now and not as a board member. And I understand that the issue is liability to the board in the event that this ordinance is entered into, which I will not be a part of as far as a voting person due to my involvement in it. I don't remember the year. Several years ago, my husband and I entered into an agreement with Patriot Engineering. We have 2 wells on our property. I think one is a water, so I'd like to differentiate. Those are the test wells. The village of Milford runs city water all the way to the airport, at least on the west side of the road. I have city water, the airport has city water, and I'm not sure on the east side of the road, but I strongly suspect because Howard Industries also has city water. So I suspect those other 2 properties to the north, I don't know if it goes as far as the elevator, if they have city water as well. So my wells have always been clean, and as you know, may or may not know, Randy's grandparents owned the property before us. I've been there for about 27 years, and I've been through rains there where my backyard floods temporarily, but torrential rains will do that to my backyard. And so the reason I'm kind of comfortable with this, aside from the issue of liability to the county, which you are all going to have to decide with the input of Mr. Devine, is that in all these years with all that rain, if it hasn't come under Route 1 to my property, I don't know what kind of time we allow for leaching that way. And it's a long way to where he said the limit is as far as it would leach to farm ground over there. It's a long way for water to have to travel, but I don't know the ins and outs of water traveling, the groundwater. But I don't know. I'm kind of okay with the test of time.
Thank you. You raised a good point. The city of Milford runs water along here and up Highway 1, even into some of the property that's owned by the county, or that's within the county limits. So Mrs. Crowell is on city water. Mrs. Looker is also on city water. In fact, there are no residences in the area that's covered by the ordinance that don't have city water. So there's no one that's relying on wells.
Yeah, just real quick, that previous map that was up shows the existing water wells in the area. Here you have the village wells down here below Sugar Creek, and these are the existing private wells in a 2-mile radius of the site. Our ordinance area, you see the blue arrow here if you can, that probably extends a bit further than the extent of our ordinance. So you can see here's the nearest downstream well, which is sort of cross gradient. Groundwater flow is to the north or west by northwest. So there's really no wells currently that are at risk of being impacted.
Jeff, can you just explain, what would be the cost if Patriot tried to go in and address
That hot spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had discussed that.
or even this contamination of
Yeah, we have to present all options to Illinois EPA, not only Illinois EPA, but people paying the bill. And the cost would be significant. It would have to be dealt with as a hazardous material. We're looking at 10 to 15 million over a 10 to 20 year period.
Out of the wells that you've got in there, have you seen any movement? Is it spreading out from well to well?
No, we've got, the soil conditions beside the well fine. There's silty, clay soils, very tight, very restrictive, and so things are very well contained from what we've seen.
The important thing to know is that there is no, I mean, since 96 or whenever, 95, I guess, when, 2005, when, that Howard Industries stopped operating, there's been no activity on this site at all, no manufacturing activity at all. There is no continuing source of contamination. There's nothing, being added to contamination that might have been there. So this contamination has had over 10 years.
Yeah, it's over 20 years since we started measuring. So you can assume the release occurred sometime before 95 when they ended their activities. We've done extensive investigations. We've done exploratory excavations and GPR surveys of the entire property to locate any underground structures, tanks, drums, that sort of thing. Nothing was ever found. The tanks associated with the old gas station were all removed. We were concerned that some of those might still be in place. Howard had an above-ground water tank here that's been removed. Most of the, and probably the reason that they had a release is they kept everything in drums, from what we can gather through old documents. Yeah.
What would be the lifespan of trichloroethylene until it becomes innocuous? Does it ever completely break down in the environment?
It does, and we're seeing that. We're seeing some of the residual products, the breakdown products, like the dichloroethylene and vinyl chloride, that are the result of degradation and attenuation of those contaminants. It really depends a lot on the environment that the contaminants are in. So if you can imagine dropping a bit of this in a tank of water, that's going to be the easiest environment for those contaminants to migrate. As you add materials, if you add sand, well, it's going to slow down a little more. As you add silt, well, it slows down even more. As you add clay, well, it slows down even more. So the model, this is the curious thing, and I have to be honest with this is something that bugs me a little bit. And we hired Andrews Engineering, who are the premier developers of this software that we use to model this. I tend to lean on actual empirical data that we've measured in the wells that exist over time, and we've found nothing. Even though the model says that this contaminants have the potential to move, we're not seeing them. It hasn't happened. Doesn't mean it won't ever happen, but we haven't seen it happen yet.
So you would have expected it to move?
We would expect it to move if it was going to. If it was going to move that far without degrading to the point where we could still measure it, we would have expected that to have already happened.
Speaking still as a citizen and asking this question, I don't think I've asked you before, what is the impact of all of that cement have being on top of all of that soil? Can you address that?
Well, plus it's an engineered barrier. It actually keeps rainwater from infiltrating into the groundwater.
Yeah, we're not so concerned about the rainwater infiltration as we are about exposure of the soil that has the contaminant to the environment, to the public. So the primary purpose of the barrier or the concrete that we want to leave in place is to create that barrier between the soil that's contaminated and anybody that's using the property. That's going to be one of the stipulations of the NFR that will contain that these barriers stay in place.
That cement has to stay there?
That's right. That's right.
And Illinois EPA can come back to the property owner if those barriers are on the
They have to be maintained, yes.
What are the percentages of this contaminant? Is it like 50%, 60%, 10%, 2%?
Well, it doesn't even get into the 0.000%.
So it's less than 1%?
Very, very, very
Less than
low.
a half a percent?
It doesn't exceed the limit set by Illinois EPA for drinking water standards, which is what we go by, the most stringent standards. But the levels are very, very low in the part per billion range.
So if someone was to come in and, let's say, buy the property, the cement could not be removed, that way the dirt could be disturbed? I mean, what if they want to come in and remove the cement and disturb the dirt? Now we have a problem.
You have to handle it as a waste material. You can't do it. I mean, there's nothing to prevent this. If somebody comes in and has billions of dollars and says, we're going to clean it up back to cornfield status, they can do that. They can go back and redo everything and do that.
But disturbing the cement and then allowing the rainwater to go in, would that then maybe trigger, or has it been too long?
Well, again, it's not so much a water infiltration issue as it is a separation issue between someone coming in actual physical contact with the soil. But yeah, these barriers have to be maintained. They have to stay in place. That's part of a condition of the no further remediation status that we're seeking with EPA. I think we're kind of getting a little bit of field here. This ordinance really doesn't address contamination at all. What this ordinance is asking us to do is to state that on the properties in question, no one can ever put a well in there. There's nothing to do with contamination. So we need to keep that in mind. What I'd like to do at this time is to invite Terry Ryman to come up and address the board about the matter.
Mr. Sher, could I ask one more question? Because that's not my understanding. I understand, and Mr. Devine just told me in that...
You have a copy of the ordinance right in front of you. It says right here, step number 1, section 1 rather.
No wells? Because
The use of groundwater as a potable water supply is prohibited.
potable,
Drinking water.
So if I wanted to build a horse barn or a dog kennel...
John asked me to look into any concerns on that matter. That these fine people spoke. There's two options. One, this area over here, the hot spot area, would have to be cleaned up. As they said, it's going to cost millions of bucks. Correct? Okay. The other option is where it's at right now with the EPA. They've got it to this point. No other action would have to be taken if this ordinance is passed for potable drinking water. Okay? So, you have two options. One, do nothing, and the property here in question may come back to the county as their property, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
The city would use the lease property.
Or the town's property. It'd still be them. So you have the two options. Pass this ordinance, or do nothing and take the chance the property goes back. Now, with that said, this is about potable water. Potable water is drinking water. Doesn't say in this ordinance that a person can drill a geothermal well, vertical one, or a non-potable well for like irrigation purposes. Now, in the anticipation of this ordinance passing, the health department has tweaked the well water ordinance. I sent a copy of it to Jim. Haven't heard anything back, so I assume that it's okay. Dee took it to the Board of Health. They approved it. Next month, Dee will be bringing it to the
Health Committee.
Health Committee. Thank you, Dee. And hopefully they'll pass it, because there are some of these ordinances out there. There's 5 of them out there right now in 4 communities. And what the ordinance that we're tweaking is, it will say there's no geothermal wells that will be located in that area that's affected. And if they do drill a non-potable well, they have to use steel casing for the upper 20 foot, and they have to pressure grout at the bedroom. And the reason why that is because of the Nebraska study. If you Google Nebraska study on well water, they found that the pressure grouts that are currently being used actually don't do much. They drill these wells with clear PVC casing, grouted them all different ways, and put green dye on the outside, and we ran a camera down, and most of them, the green dye outran the camera going down the well. So that's the reason they found, to protect their occupants, that the upper 20 foot of well casing had to be steel casing, because the pressure grout sticks to that. On the PVC, if it dries out just a little bit, or a little barrier, and then you have the possible contamination. So is there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Repeat the part about the geothermal loops again.
Geothermal, the vertical ones, not the horizontal. The vertical ones have to have a well permit issued by the health department. Okay, they use PVC pipe, small diameter. So there's no way of
Right.
doing the safest practice would be steel casing. And so I just took the verbiage right out of what Nebraska recommended. I added to all of it because ultimately my job is to advise everybody to protect the rainwater that we get. So that's why we're tweaking our wording for the ones that are already on the books as well as the things that we.
And as Mr. Ivan pointed out, this is the first ordinance that the county has addressed. But there are 5 groundwater ordinances here in Iroquois County already. 4, there are 2 in Waseca, and there are 3 in other communities in Iroquois County. So this is the first time. There are hundreds of these in place across the state of Illinois. The city of Chicago is covered by one enormous ordinance. You cannot, and it's the same one that you're looking at today to be passed by the county, that it says that you can't drill a potable well anywhere in Chicago, and that probably makes a lot of sense. But this is something that's been around. The ordinance option has been around since 1992. It's used quite frequently in Illinois, where you have a situation where you need to cover more than one property and get a groundwater restriction. And Mr. Ivan, the ordinance that you're proposing or the tweaks to your existing ordinance are between you and your county. They're not requirements that Illinois EPA would have, but it's certainly something that you can address with your county board.
Anybody have any questions for me?
Do you have any comments?
No, this is a general comment based, I'm glad that we're talking about the potable well restrictions, and I think what Terry is talking about is, he's asking, he's going to tweak the ordinances at the public health level, which, in his opinion, are in the best interest of the county overall. But we're just talking about the county jurisdiction part of this restriction, and it's just, it's not a perfect situation. I mean, we wish there wasn't contamination on Howard Industries property. There is. We have to deal with what may be the future of contamination moving to county jurisdiction property. It hasn't done that. It hasn't done that in 22 years, but we don't know what the future is. So in protecting the future and future property development, we're just asking for a restriction on potable well installation in that specific area of the county jurisdiction. So it's really narrow, quite frankly, what we're asking to be done. And there'll be a diligence on the part of the county to make sure there's no potable wells drilled there in the future. So it's one of those things we need to be aware of going forward. But I think it's in the best interest of the county, and it appears to be okay with the property, the adjoining property owners, that this is a good thing. So I have no objection to it.
I have a question about the property owners. Do we need any kind of written statements or affidavits from them on this matter?
There's nothing they can say or do that's going to affect what the county jurisdiction does in passing our ordinances. I mean, this is something we think we're doing in the best interest of the county overall. I mean, no, we don't need, I mean, they're not here. This is a public meeting. It's on the agenda. They have a right to voice their concerns if they have any, and they're not. And Jennifer has stated, and we have one of the property owners here, and she stated that she's personally talked to the other property owners, Jennifer and Swooper, so, in the railroad. So it's not an issue. It's nothing that's required as a condition of passing this ordinance.
Is there any liability in any of this for the county?
For the county, no. I mean, as far as contamination goes, we're just saying, in the county jurisdiction, you can't drill a potable well. And so the diligence on the part of the county is to make sure that isn't done to support our own ordinance. But as far as if there is any contamination that moved there, there's no liability to the county. The fact that there's contamination that models show may move there, whatever. So there's no liability to the county in regard to contamination. And really what we're doing overall with this, in approving this ordinance, is trying to make this property marketable. Without this ordinance being passed, the property will essentially be unmarketable in the future.
So if it moves 20 years from now, we're still not liable?
No. Because we didn't cause the contamination. We didn't contribute to it. We didn't cause it. As a matter of fact, we're trying to create restriction in any possible contamination that may go that way by prohibiting drinking in that general jurisdiction of the county.
You wouldn't mind that? Go ahead.
So, if there's concern about these surrounding properties not having the ability to have their own well, I mean, they all could theoretically be supplied by city water, correct?
They could, because of the city water. It runs down here, and it runs up to about this point here, so.
And I guess the question is, would there ever be a situation where somebody didn't want city water? I mean, this ordinance is there forever.
And in the event when the day comes when I want to build my horse barn or my dog kennel or whatever on my 2 acres out there, I can still drill a well for the purpose of bathing or, like they said, irrigation or something else. It just can't be a potable well.
That's correct. That's correct. And that's, the ordinance is clear that it has to be, it only applies to potable wells.
Potable water is any water used for human or domestic consumption, including, but not limited to water used for drinking, bathing, swimming, washing dishes, or preparing foods. That's the definition for
What about irrigation on cornfields?
Not potable.
Let's just say you can't do it.
Randy Snyder, First National Bank. I just want to thank you for taking this into consideration. I'll admit to you that this has been an absolute nightmare for us. When we bought the Danville Bank from the FDIC, we knew this property was part of that. There was a environmental, phase 1 environmental in the file that was done in 2002 that said it was clean. Obviously it wasn't. What happened was, once we owned it, we became known in July of 2009. In September, we put a sign up for sale. The EPA called us and said, you can't sell it. There was a plan submitted in 1996 that was never completed. And so one of our concerns is, why did they wait until we owned it to raise that issue? But anyway, so we hired Paper Engineering to look into this plan and see what needed to be done to complete the plan. And we thought that once we got that plan completed, then we would be able to sell the property. That's when it became a nightmare. The snowballed. We did site investigation after site investigation. We did this, we did that. The roof and the building collapsed. We tore the building down. Again, as Jennifer mentioned, we spent over $1 million that we didn't have to spend. We could have walked away from it. But we didn't anticipate it would be $1 million. We knew we would spend some money, but not this much. So we really need your help. The only way we can get this property sold is to have these ordinances in place. The city of Milford has approved the ordinance. We have a potential buyer in place. So if we can get this done, we can get this thing sold and get that property back in use. Again, so ask for your assistance in trying to get this done. I think it's in everybody's best interest from an economic development perspective.
And we understand that. I hope you understand we're trying to cover all the bases. These are all the questions are answered. Everybody's satisfaction.
And I understand that, and
a lot of responsibility that we have for
and what I told our professionals here that we're not going to spend any more money. You know, we spend enough, and we're not going to spend any more to get this done. It's a big process. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Any other questions about the ordinance or any information provided? We really appreciate your time and your attention. Thank you for letting us hear about it.
Okay, we have 2
about it and read it a little further?
This ordinance is specific to that geographic location on that map?
That's what it says here.
Well, it starts out talking about that particular piece, but I don't see where the language goes around that narrows it down.
We attach that map to the ordinance, and it's defined with respect to the map, so, and that's acceptable to Illinois EPA.
PIN numbers on the map. PIN numbers aren't identified in the...
Well, if there's a question we should divide, we actually attach the PIN numbers, we provided the PIN numbers at the back.
But on Exhibit B, the PIN numbers are listed on Exhibit C.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the ordinance.
The motion on the floor to approve the ordinance, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I'm sorry, second. Is there any further discussion or comment?
I second it not, but Larry can if he wants to.
You have a hand that works clean, that don't mean you ever know for sure. Probably.
This went through planning and zoning, and also Mr. Devine has looked at it.
There was no action taken.
But it's
just for the proof.
okay. But I'm good.
Any other further comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Raymond.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sticknot.
No.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Holt.
No.
Barron.
Yes.
Cook.
No.
Okenauer.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
No.
Aspargan.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Crumley.
Yes.
Lee. McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Persley.
Yes.
Next, please. Please, sir. Next, please.
I'm sorry.
I vote no.
You're a no?
Some people that work.
Five. So, motion passed.
Motion passed 12 to 5. Take care of that matter. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, we appreciate it.
Move on with the Transportation and Highway Committee report. Mr. Bill.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee refer transportation and highway with a brief on the matters before it. Your committee met at the County Highway Building on July 7, 2017, at 9 a.m. Under President Bill Crowe, Aspargan, Johnson, and Chad Moore. Troy Alston and Kevin Bowman, also present, County Engineer Bill Moore, County Board Chairman John Scher, Mark James of Addison Construction, Sandra Brooks of Noel Construction, and Bruce Foss of Fairplay Paving. County Board Member Walter Strickland and Wendy Davis of the County Republic. The meeting was called to order. County Engineer Bill Moore opened bids for the Artesian Asphalt Bridge as follows. The Harrison Construction put in a bid for $538,671. Earthquake Paving put in a bid for $434,975. Newell Construction put in a bid for $424,987. The bids were taken for review to be acted on later in the meeting. There was no public comment. The claims and financial reports for the month were reviewed. It was moved by Larry Hagsbarger and seconded by Chad McGinnis. The pay of the bill is subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. County highway was $79,286. County bridge was $9,309. County motor fuel tax was $292,610. The township motor fuel tax was $958,422. Moore presented a preliminary engineering agreement with Hutchinson Engineering for a township bridge in Tappan. Moore said that the rate would be about 10% up to the first $100,000. He believes the total cost to be approximately about $30,000. Of the total cost of the bridge project to be approximately $425,000. It was moved by Donna Crowe and seconded by Sherry Johnson to enter into an engineering agreement with Hutchinson Engineering for Township Bridge, TBP, which is called Bridge Design, designated as the Tappan Township. The roll call was taken. Motion carried. Under old business, Sherry Johnson asked for an update on the highway department's truck that could possibly be used for the maintenance department. As Barbara said, that he spoke more and the highway department is going to continue to use the truck for their needs. Moore spoke about using county bridge funds to pay the Artesia Ash Grove Bridge until township bridge money are issued due to the state budget funds, but it will be reimbursed once the TBP funds are issued. So a question of the legality of the matter, and Moore said there are several other county engineers that pay out of motor fuel tax, then reimburse their motor fuel tax. It was moved by McGinnis and seconded by Crowe to suspend the county bridge funds in the amount of $382,488 to pay for the Artesia Ash Grove Bridge until the township bridge funds are available from the state to be reimbursed, which will be put back into the county highway bridge fund. The roll call vote was taken and that motion carried. So we're borrowing from the left pocket, putting in the right until the state gets their act together. The Ash Grove Bridge bids were reviewed, and Knoll Construction was the low bidder. It was moved by Hagsbarger and seconded by Johnson to accept the bids from Knoll Construction in the amount of $424,987 for the Artesia Ash Grove Bridge. A roll call vote was taken. That motion carried. As there was no further business, we come to board committee. It was moved by Crowe and seconded by Hagsbarger to adjourn at 9:30. A motion carried. All which is respectfully submitted, signed by all members present, and I would move to the adoption of the report.
Motion on the floor to approve the highway department. Is there a second? Mr. Hagsbarger. Any questions or comments?
What do we know about Newell Construction? Where are they from?
They live about the year like the new.
Yeah, Illinois.
They've been around for I think for about 40 years.
Yeah.
Probably more than that.
They do a lot of bridges. They are usually a low bidder on bridges on the south end of the county.
I was kind of wondering what their quality work must be okay. They've been around for a while.
Yeah, they're, I think like the last, this guy was one down by Walton.
They had one down by Sister Park and they did it from the last,
But we have a good track record here.
Okay, thanks.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Okenauer.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hattenbarger.
Yes.
Johnson. Crumweedy.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Frisley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Gary? Is there a motion to approve the claim? So moved. Moved by Barron, is there a second? Second by Carbachel. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Willow.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Okenauer.
Yes.
Crowe.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Hattenbarger.
Yes.
Johnson. Crumweedy.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
McTaggart. Sorry. Awful.
Yes.
Frisley.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Sticknall.
Yes. The motion passes 17-30. Appointments. Everybody has a copy of the appointments in front of them. Is a motion to approve the appointments? So moved. Mr. Sticknall, is there a second? Mr. Okenauer, second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried, that motion passes. Is there any old business this morning? Mrs. Awful.
I don't know if this is under old or new, but for the meeting, Republican Precinct Committee meeting is not August 17th. That is the, wait a minute, is that Tuesday?
That's the schedule.
August?
Well, we're having it, the day before the fair.
That's the schedule.
That's the July meeting, the day before the fair.
That's right. Sorry. It's been a long morning.
Is there any new business this morning? Motion to
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.